All right, there we go. Hello, everybody.
Hey, hey, hey.
All right, so welcome to the Mikestand. Um, Today is, of course, Wednesday, August the 7th, 2024. So hopefully so we've of course reached Hump Day, middle of the week here. Hopefully everybody's having a good week thus far. So we're at three people now. So Rick, how's your week going thus far?
Thus far, not too bad. Hopefully, I find out in the next couple of days whether I've got a couple of jobs. I'm supposed to be knowing in next couple of days whether got one from a couple of weeks ago. I interviewed for the one that I interviewed today. I should know by Monday or Tuesday next week. Um, but yeah, uh, it's doing good, getting some things accomplished for my comic stuff. So that's good. And I guess, yeah, not sure. Not much else left to say, I guess.
All right, and just a friendly reminder to everybody: if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention that we talk about, feel free to comment and or ask questions. So we'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, Rick, before I do talk about what's on tap for tonight, would you like to go ahead and do an intro? You know,
Well, I
shtick,
will
right?
just put my link to my channel in the chat and say, if you don't know who I am, I am, of course, Rick Piper, who does comics called through a company that I created called Cross Comics. And if you want to check me out here on YouTube, just go to the link. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and like and share and all that, and watch as many videos as your heart's desire.
And this is not really
So I guess
allowing me to.
that's it for me for now, except for whatever I comment on the articles or whatever we go over tonight.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. Well, Facebook isn't allowing me. Isn't allowing me to access my. All right. So there's the link for you guys to check out Rick's channel. Um. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about then what we're going to talk about tonight. So tonight we got a couple articles from Founding in the Comics we're going to go over. Tonight, this is going to be probably one of the more rare occasions where we're actually focusing more on manga. Just you know, in that there are a couple stories that have been covered lately, like by Vera Dark and a few others. Um, some stuff from some stuff coming out of publisher Shogakukan. One of which, of course, their decision to start using AI translations for a new light novel reading app, Novelist, and then the other one is um, kind of apparently they're saying among Shogakukan among the partners who is getting together with some Japanese conglomerates to promote DEI and ESG initiatives. So for those of you, of course, who may not know what DEI and ESG are, those are basically woke stuff. DEI is diversity, um, quality, and inclusion. ESG, I am not exactly fully sure what that one means, but um, I guess economic, social grade, or whatever. But with that being said, we're going to go over those two articles tonight. Plus, of course, the wrestling wrap up, and then the each history segment. So, with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started? We're coming up on the 5 minute mark here, so let's go ahead and get going here. Alrighty then. Let's check out this first article here. All right, so Shimoneta, publisher Shogakukan, to use AI translation for new light novel reading app Novelist. Article by Spencer McCauley, published back on August the 3rd, which was last Saturday. Um, and of course, with all this talking about AI and stuff, it's got a lot of Western localizers, including Katrina Leonidakis, up in arms. So let's go ahead and get into this. So, an upcoming light novel reading app from Japanese publisher Shogakukan will be using AI technology to localize its featured works for English speaking audiences. Mhm.
And hello, good night, man. Good night, man. He says, you got 9 minutes before Mr. Best happens. Who's Mr. Best?
Mr.
Some
Best or
YouTuber.
Mr. Beast? I think yeah, Mr. Beast, actually. You got about 9 minutes before Mr. Beast. In other words, Mr. Beast is a
YouTuber.
YouTuber, and basically he's been in the news lately covering for another guy who I guess was supposedly caught doing some naughty, nasty things. Um, so anyways, so getting back to the article here. As detailed Japanese financial news outlet Nikkei, the app named in smaller quotes Novelist, will allow users to freely access an ever-growing selection of the publisher's various light novel offerings, including such Shimoneta, A Boring World Where the Concept of Dirty Jokes Doesn't Exist, gonna be the Twin Tail, Japanese title Ore Suniteru ni Narimatsu, and Frieren Beyond Journey's End, prequel novel, Frieren the Novel Prelude. In terms of the app's user interface, the light novels available on Novelist will be presented in a continuous vertical scrolling style rather than an atypical distinctly separated by page horizontal form. In other words, basically, um, well, you guys know I use Comic Book Plus and Comic Book or Read Comics Online. It's gonna basically what I think they're saying is the format's gonna be kind of more like how Read Comic Books Online is run. So,
And Goodnight Moon says Mr. Best is legally distinct from Mr. Beast.
oh, Mr. Ben, okay,
So he did not do a typo. See,
all right. Actually, Mr. Yeah, okay. Um,
unless Mr. Best is another pseudonym for Mr. Beast.
I don't think so, but so further character dialogue will be shown not in bare paragraphs of standard text, but in formatted speech bubbles adorned with icons indicating which specific character is speaking. I guess you see right there. Set to launch in both the United States and Canada by the end of 2024, the app is currently planned to add a massive 400 titles to its library in its first 2 years. According to the publisher, this aggressive push to reach foreign readers is being motivated in large part by Japan's declining birth rates, as the prospects of an ever shrinking home market have led many companies to begin placing their bets on growth on outside audiences.
You know what that means? Japan needs to get its birth rate up.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of.
But
I've covered some articles before where they've talked about where the Japanese Diet, which is of course their their Parliament, House of Representatives, with their Congress, Parliament, what have you, has actually tried to encourage mangakas or manga creators to create more slice of life manga to maybe motivate more people to go out and start procreating. You
yeah,
know,
the other thing they need.
because the Japanese have done what America should have been doing all along, and instead of aborting the baby after the fact, they've been being more disciplined and just not going out and having sex until they're ready to, until they're established,
Yeah,
focusing on their career and getting, making sure they themselves are financially stable enough to support themselves before trying to, support a family.
yeah. The other thing I think Japan needs to do, they need to find more land.
Yeah. So let's see. To this end, to meet this output goal and cut their production costs in half, Shogakukan will be using the Mantra AI translation engine to localize the works added to novellas. Now, a couple of reasons why they're doing this using AI and why there is such a, obviously, part of it. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons. One, it is a cost cutting move. You know, not having to worry about paying for actual humans to translate. But the other thing is because a lot of these Western localizers have taken liberties with the Japanese properties, and it is starting to get back to these companies that, hey, look, these people like Katrina Leonidakis are sitting there, they're basically reinterpreting the original creator's works. They're putting in stuff that's like mansplaining and all that, all the woke stuff, putting their own ideological spin on things, and fans are not happy about that. They don't want that stuff in there. They want
The fans of the actual Japanese version that know the difference are not happy.
right.
Thus, and the creators probably of the properties are not happy that their stuff is being.
Well, they're not they're unhappy about getting the backlash they're getting, and that's why they're doing that. So,
Outbreak starring Dustin Hoffman, Reno, Renee Russo, Morgan Freeman.
okay, Dustin Hoffman, Renee Russo, Morgan Freeman, and Donald Sutherland is free. Okay, did you know that the outbreak starring Dustin Hoffman, Renee Russo, Morgan Freeman, and Donald Sutherland is free on YouTube movies. I didn't know that, but again, I'm not a big movie person. So, would you rather watch Outbreak or Pleasantville? I really have no interest in either movie, quite honestly.
I can't say I've seen Outbreak. I've seen Pleasantville, but I like Pleasantville. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably like it too myself because Don Knotts in there and all that. So
yeah.
All right. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. Um, Developed by the Japanese tech startup Mantra Company for use on manga and webtoons, rather than just literally translating a given work, engines take story, dialogue, and panel context into account to produce more accurate localizations. Quote, by combining our manga image recognition technology with a large scale language model, LLM, in parentheses there, translation can take into account character and story information extracted from the images, unquote, explains the company of their engine's mechanics. Quote, by considering a longer context than traditional machine translation, which translates each sentence independently, it is possible to maintain consistency in translation style and character tone throughout the work, unquote.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah,
And yes, it sounds like Mike is a Don Knotts fan. I am too. I like him in the Andy Griffith Show and of course the Three's Company.
yeah,
His two most famous shows.
yeah. Well, I mean, I grew up watching some of Don Knotts' work, obviously, on Three's Company as Mr. Furley, so the
Yeah.
replacement for the Ropers. So, anyways, and of course, he also portrayed himself in the new Scooby Doo movies as well.
Uh,
Um, yeah,
yeah,
you
but
didn't know that he had an episode or two on there, among
yeah,
many guest stars who've done that over
yeah.
the years.
But his two most famous roles, of course, is Mr. Curly and then the deputy on the Andy Griffith Show.
Right,
And he might be slightly more famous for the deputy on
Barney
Andy
Fife.
Griffith Show. Yeah, Barney Fife.
Yeah. Let's see. This process performed by members of the Mantra company themselves, these AI localizations are then passed off to human editors for a final review before ultimately being submitted to the source material's respective publisher.
Well, that's good that they bring it to the publisher for review.
Right.
Hopefully, the publishers understand the English enough or whatever language enough to know what it's saying and that it's being translated, so to say, accurately.
Yeah. So, far from a bit player in the Japanese publishing scene, the Mantra engine has already been used to produce such localizations as the ongoing English simulpubs of the Ancient Magus Bride, which I've covered an article on when they started doing that, and that got a lot of heat, and the Vietnamese releases of both One Piece and Spy Family. Further, as of June 2024, Mantra Company has managed to raise a total approximately 780 million yen unquote in funding from such leading manga and light novel publishers as Shogakukan, Kadokawa, and Square Enix Holdings.
So that was 780 million, right?
Yeah. 780 million yen.
Oh wow, that's like $5 billion, over $5 billion.
Hmm. Oh. At current, it is
U.S.
unknown which light novels, nor specifically how many, will be featured on Shogakukan's Novellas app. When
Well,
it,
I have to correct myself. It's only over 5 million. I did not see a decimal point there.
yeah, on Novellas app, when it hit U.S. and Canadian app stores later this year. So yeah, and we talked, and I know I've read the article on the Ancient Magus Bride when they were starting to do that too, and you had a lot of Western localizers up in arms saying, "Oh, you're taking jobs away from humans. You're evil. You're cruel." Never mind the fact that
No,
these
the humans are
people,
taking the jobs away from themselves by not doing a good job.
right? You know,
And I'd probably still go Pleasantville myself. I have seen The Incredible Mr. Limpet, and it was pretty good and funny, but I think I like Pleasantville slightly more. So would you rather watch The Incredible Mr. Limpet or Pleasantville? Mike?
incredible.
That's, of
I
course,
don't I don't know because I'm not a big I'm not overall I'm not a big movie fan. I'm not somebody who's gonna go out and watch a lot of movies. I very rarely go out to watch movies.
yeah,
Okay.
well, The Incredible Mr. Limpet, it's an older film,
I'm aware of that. I'm aware
and
of
it's
that.
where
It's,
Don Knotts becomes a fish.
you know, I'm just not somebody. I'm just never really, it's very rare I actually go out to actually watch movies in a movie theater. It's
Well, we're
kind
not
of
talking about.
expensive, and in my opinion, kind of a waste of time and money.
Well, we're
'Cause
not talking about going out to a theater to see it. We're just saying
I
watching
know
it on your
watching it on TV too, but I still wouldn't, again, I still wouldn't go back and watch it on TV either. I'm just I'm just not a big movie person.
Uh,
In fact, for that matter, I haven't, aside from maybe, of course, Toonami on Saturday nights, and maybe, just putting on Boomerang here and there, for filler. I haven't really watched a whole lot on TV. I stream more than anything else. I watch stuff streaming. So
yeah, well, watching something via streaming or watching it on your TV is the same, almost the same thing.
all right. So, anyways, all right. So, Japanese conglomerates promoting DEI and ESG initiatives invest in anime and manga industry. Small one. Freelance publisher Shogakukan among partners. Article by Spencer McCooley published on. Spencer McCooley was busy last Saturday putting up 2 articles. Okay, so as interest in anime and manga continues to grow on both the local and international levels, a pair of Japan's largest conglomerates, both of whom unfortunately promote DEI and ESG initiatives as part of their core values, are now looking to get in on the Weeaboo game.
That, of course, is Ultraman, with Spider-Man. Ultraman meets Spider-Man.
Going in alphabetical order, the first of these corporate investors is Marubeni, a leader in Japan's cereal and paper industries, and the nation's overall 5th biggest general trading company. On June 27th, Marubeni announced that they would be teaming up with publisher Shogakukan, whose print offerings include the Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Kamen Rider Kuga, and Pokemon special mangas, as well as Shimoneta, which we were just talking about, and gonna be the Twin Tail light novel series, to establish, quote, a new company for the global development of Japanese manga and anime content. So essentially, what they're saying they're gonna do, and this is actually something that Yellow Flash has talked about before, and is kind of worried about some of these more woke companies getting on board. Now, granted, he's talked about it more from the West, coming from the West, but these are Japan's companies, who are promoting like the woke stuff, and they're gonna basically try to put money where their mouth is and try to get these companies to promote more, get more of a say in what these companies, publish.
Yeah.
In the name of getting more people to read their stuff, feeling they have to become woke.
Yeah, which they don't realize if they look at the West, that has diminished the West's sales. So, and then helped increase their sales. So they should be smart and not do it unless they want diminished
They should
sales.
be running the other way.
Yeah.
Quote, the sales channels for, in brackets, Japanese manga and anime are not well established, especially in overseas markets, unquote, explained the company of their new partnership. Quote, lack of direct distribution networks and retail outlets means that attractive content cannot be delivered to fans around the world, resulting in lost opportunities. This situation has led to an increase in pirated products, highlighting the need for a system that ensures the distribution of legitimate goods. Unquote. Basically, what they're saying is they can't as easily, let's say, distribute the mangas into American stores because it's further away. I think that's what they're
Yeah,
getting at.
and it's not necessarily in English, or whatever, and people don't read it. Um,
Quote, the, in brackets, new company aims to offer a breakthrough solution to the situation, thereby contributing to maximizing the value of Japanese content by connecting authors with fans around the world.
well,
They
they
added,
already are through social media. They forget this.
yeah, they added, quote, specifically the in brackets new company will deliver Japanese content in a variety of domains, including the development of goods using manga and anime content, sales at retail outlets, and the establishment of an overseas sales distribution network, as well as digital content utilizing
The latest
the
technologies,
latest technology. Unquote.
like
So
the
basically, it's
article.
kind of like, well, okay, so the company they're talking about, Marubene, or Maru, so cereal and paper products. So what that could mean is that maybe they'll come like here in the States, how Kellogg's a few years ago came out with like you know the Flintstone cereals, like Fruity Pebbles and Choco
Yeah,
Flips or whatever that kind of stuff. You know, maybe they'll do that with that. Maybe we'll get Nabruto brand flakes or something like that. So,
yeah. Who knows?
uh, you know, or One Piece gold chocolate pieces.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of that stuff is one offs. Yes, you have, say, the Flintstone cereal stuff, which is decades old. Um, but other than that, most of those brands, like Frosted Flakes, Tony the Tiger from that. Is that Tony the Tiger? I think so. They're great. He
Tony the Tiger's frosted flakes.
okay, Frosted Flakes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Um, he's been the brand of that for decades, but he's never been, a cartoon or whatever. Well, technically, they made him a cartoon for commercials, but he wasn't a cartoon like the Flintstones were a cartoon.
Yeah.
And like the Rice Krispie characters and Fruit Loop,
For the most part, I
toucans.
think
Yeah,
the Flintstones are the only actual characters I can think of that were actually
had
did
an ongoing serial.
right. Well, they not only had cereal, but they had the Flintstones vitamins too.
Yeah, yeah, and those are still around. But what I mean is, when talking cereal specifically, yes, some of your cartoon characters get, a short-lived, you know, cereal for, a year or two or whatever, but that's about it. Like the Smurfs had stuff, I think, some cereal when
Mm-hmm.
they were a big thing in the 80s, but, now that it's no longer a thing. Or, some other gummy bears or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean the
Well, in a
cartoon
way,
red.
there are still not the now. Granted, they're not branded as like Disney's gummy bears, but there are gummy bears out there.
Yeah, but no, I don't think most people associate them with Disney's gummy bears.
Yeah. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere.
Everywhere.
That's that's adventure that's beyond compare. They are
Yes,
the
the gummy bears.
gummy bears.
I'd like to
They
see
are
the
the
gummy
gummy bears. All
gummy
right. So
bears meet the
anyways,
Smurfs.
let's get back to the article here. Um, let's see. So breakthrough solution to this situation, thereby contributing to maximizing the value of Japanese content by connecting with fans around the world. They added specifically the new company will deliver Japanese content in a variety of domains. Okay, so yeah, we were just reading all that, as well as digital content utilizing the latest technology.
Yeah, sort of like the last article we were reading, that technology.
Yeah. All right. Notably, per their own website, Marubeni is a strong adherent to tenets of environmental, social, and governance (ESG) investing principles. Further, so that's what ESG stands: environmental, social, and governance. Further, they've performed so well in their dedication that they were recognized as an environmentally sustainable company at the February 2024 Japanese ESG Finance Awards, one of the event's top honors, as awarded to those companies doing the most to promote such related efforts. In parentheses here, interestingly, most of their reported ESG initiatives are concerned with the environmental aspect of their operations. Meanwhile, their social efforts seem to be more focused gender diversity, um, on promoting gender diversity than racial diversity. The second corporate investor is Mizuho Financial Group, a banking holding company. The group is moving to establish an anime film invest fund by the end of the year. According to Bloomberg, the fund will begin with a pool of 1.5 billion yen, or $9.5 million, to 2.5 billion yen, or $17 million in financing, with Mizuho Financial Group looking to invest nearly 800 million yen, or $5.4 million, into each film they partner with. And similar but slightly different from Marubeni, Mizuho Financial Group are committed to the principles of DEI. Quote, in alignment with Mizuho's corporate identity and to create lasting value for all stakeholders in the economies and communities in which we operate, we promote equity of opportunity and an inclusive culture where diversity in its many forms is welcome, unquote, reads the company's official commitment to diversity. Quote, we incorporate varied perspectives into our daily working practices and decision making and strive to create an environment where employees can flourish, feel a sense of belonging, and are proud to work, unquote.
So, what about if these very perspectives don't actually come of anything, don't work? Do they get rid of them? Not the employee, just the perspective.
Hmm. Good question. Don't have an answer, but that's a good question.
Yeah, I know it's rhetorical. Neither of us can answer it, but um,
All right. So, whether or not the principles of ESG and DEI will feature prominently in the development of either Marubeni or Mizuho Financial Group's respective anime products. However, um, given what we seen from the West, let's just say the odds aren't looking good. As of
I,
writing, neither Marubeni nor Mizuho Financial Group have announced their first respective anime productions.
and there's the other thing too that we have to ask ourselves: seeing and so these people are in Japanese culture, do these terms mean the same to them as they do to us? Yes, there is the underlying meaning, but does it mean they'll go as far as what some of the people in the say Canada and the States would for
Well,
this stuff?
I think on one of our previous Sunday shows, I remember I think Metal talked about this. A lot of times, even though they are starting to catch up a bit, Japan tends to be 20 years behind the states when it comes to this kind of thing. So
Yeah.
what their thoughts probably on like ESG and DEI, what they're probably doing is probably more similar to what was going on in the states back in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, like because they even said in the article there, most of the stuff that the first Marubeni was doing was more environmental. So it's basically like, okay, maybe these people are pushing more like what would be something like a Captain Planet type scenario, right? Maybe
Yeah.
developing that as an anime, Captain Planet as an anime. Even though now, granted, Japan has had some animes out there that have kind of been like kind of somewhat apocalyptic, nature gone wild, apocalyptic, like Future Boy Conan, kind of the aftermath of one situation, and then Arjuna, the other one. So,
Yeah.
Sticky Art Shirt says, hello, Sticky Art Shorts.
Hey, Sticky Art. How are you tonight?
Is this one of the guys from your channel, Rick, or?
Yes, Sticky Arts is from my channel, or I'm from his channel. Well, we've known each other for a while. He comes by my channel every so often. I come by his every so often. He is a good guy.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. Welcome to the chat, my friend. Hopefully you'll enjoy. We just finished the 2 articles we're going to go over tonight, so we'll probably we're at the 37-minute mark. We'll probably start winding down a bit here. I'm subbed to both of you. Oh, okay. That's cool. Hopefully we can see you around more often, Sticky. I would love to see that. Love to see you around more often.
Sticky has a pretty good show. The audience, actually, one person that appeared on my show for quite some time, that's where I found them, or they found me, and that's Rebellious Pastry.
All right, so with that, now we're going to, of course, get ready to move on to the wrestling wrap-up. And we are going to talk a little bit about what happened. I guess we'll first off talk a little bit about what went down on NXT last night, on WWE's NXT. I guess part 2 of the Great American Bash thing coming from the opening match saw Pete Dunne defeat Trick Williams. In a match for the WWE NXT Women's North American title, Kalani Jordan retained over Tatum Paxley. Ethan Page retained the WWE NXT title in a match over Oro Mensah. Joe Hendry, coming over from TNA, defeated Joe Coffey. Ren Sinclair, along with Charlie Dempsey and Miles Bourne, defeated Kendall Gray with Carly Bright in his corner. And then the main event for last night saw NXT Tag Team Champions Axiom and Nathan Frazier retain over MSK duo of Wesley and Zachary Wentz. So, there's also talk that they may have also cemented in the WWE that they may have cemented the main events for next year's WrestleManias. It looks like they're going to possibly be pushing Cody taking on The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. So, I'm on later at night, but I'll keep an eye out.
Cool. Sticky.
So, anyway, so that's all I got for the WE side of things. So, let me also talk a little bit about what happened on last night's NWA Power, as taped before the Crockett Cup back in April on the 13th at the WEDU studios. airing last night, you saw in the opening match the Immortals of Kratos and Odinson defeat the duo of the Dark City Violence Connection of Joe Black and Murder One. Former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion Colby Carino defeated Alex Misery. In a match for the JCP Southeastern Tag Team titles, the Stew Crew retained over the miserably faithful duo of Gag the Gimp and Salvation. Of course, Joe Kazana was in the Stew Crew's corner. And then in the main event, saw Mims with Black G's in his corner defeat Zion, who had Austin Idol in his corner. As, of course, the NWA is continuing to prepare for their upcoming anniversary show at the end of the month here on August 31st. 76th anniversary of when the NWA came into being. And now for tonight's what to look forward to tonight on tonight's Dynamite, and then we'll talk about of course talk about the results tomorrow on the night's end. On tonight's Dynamite, signed for tonight's Dynamite includes MJF taking on Kyle Fletcher in an American title eliminator match. Now, the American title is just simply the renaming or rebranding of the international title. So basically, Kyle Fletcher is basically challenging for a shot at MJF's American title. If Kyle Fletcher wins, of course, he'll get a title shot at whatever time he chooses. If he loses, he will basically be eliminated from contention the foreseeable future. So, also, Mariah May, and as she prepares for her upcoming title shot against Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Title at All In, she'll be taking on Viva Van. Katsuyori Shibata will be taking on Brian Keith of Chris Jericho's Learning Tree group, continuing that feud. In a 6-man tag match, FTR of Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler team with Orange Cassidy to take on Roderick Strong, Roosh, and Beast Mortos in a 6-man tag match. In a 2-on-1 handicap match, former NWA World Women's Champion Camille recently made her debut on Dynamite recently. Will be taking on the duo of Clara Carter and Jasmine Howe. And then the main event is set in an Anything Goes match. Bryan Danielson will be taking on Jeff Jarrett. So that's all I got for you on the wrestling side of things here. So now we're going to go ahead and we're at the 43-minute mark here. We're going to go ahead and start to wind things down by going over with today being Wednesday, August the 7th, 2024. Let's take a look back at this day in Meet History. History! So, 1904 and 2004. All right. So first off, we're going to head back to 1944 because I'd like to wish a happy 80th birthday to actor John Glover. John Glover, who on the animated side of things would provide the voice, of course, of the Riddler in the DC animated universe. You know, the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series and all of the other. Dyson in Tron Uprising, King Edward in The Legend of Prince Valiant episode, The Blackest Poison, and Rasputin in the Animaniacs episode, Nothing But the Tooth. Aside from that, on the DC comic side of things as well, John Glover also played in the live action. He portrayed Lionel Luthor in Smallville. You know, basically like father who was played by another well-known voice actor, Michael Rosenbaum, who of course did the voice of the Flash and the Flash in the DC animated universe, as well Kid Flash in the Teen Titans cartoons, among other other characters. Happy birthday to John Glover.
Yes, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Anyways, moving on now to the next piece of niche history here is we move all the way up to 2004, which was just 20 years ago. On this date in 2004, Studio 4 Degree C, Studio 4 Degree C's Mind Games premiered in Japanese theaters on this date back in 2004. It was a Japanese adult animated experimental comedy drama film based on Robin Nishi's manga of the same name. So on this date, 20 years ago today, Studio 4 Degree C's Mind Game premiered in Japanese theater on this date back in 2004. And moving ahead now to 2019, which was just 5 years ago today. On this date, 5 years ago today. I grab that. On this date, 5 years ago today, the 70th issue of Volume 2 of Star Wars went on sale on newsstands from Marvel Comics. On this date, 5 years ago today, it sold for $3.99 and was 20 pages. So on this date, 5 years ago today, Volume 2, the 70th issue of the second volume of Star Wars from Marvel Comics went on sale on this date. The story was part 3 of the Rebels and Rogues storyline, written by Greg Pak, with art by Phil Noto and lettering done by Clayton Cowles. And there's the cover right there, as you see it right there. So there you go. So that's all we got for you guys tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, before we leave, Rick, would you like to do an outro before we head out?
Sure, I will put a link to my channel into the chat. There it is. So if anybody that's here that see me for the first time wants to go over and hit the subscribe button or check me out and then hit the subscribe button, feel free to do so. Hopefully you will. And thank you very much.
All right. So with that, we'll be back here tomorrow night with more niche news. So I hope everybody will come back for that. Also on this Friday, we'll be continuing our look down Comics History Lane as Apex from Apex Comics will be joining me as we'll be looking at comics went on sale in March of 1940 from Fawcett Comics. We'll be looking at, of course, at Wiz Comics Volume 1, Issue 4. We'll be looking, one of the stories we'll be focusing in on, of course, Captain Marvel and the debut of Beauty of Savannah. Also, we'll be looking at Master Comics Volume 1, Issue 2, and Slam Bang Comics Volume 1, Issue 2. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye!